Thanks to the reply speaker from the opposition. I'd like to call upon the final speaker for the debate, the reply speaker, Caitlin, from the proposition.
The question that needed to be answered in today's debate was whether Western or Chinese investment was best going to achieve economic and social development in Africa. And they agreed with us that this was the question of today's debate. I'm going to show you why we answered that question, and so we're going to win today's debate. I'm going to look at it in terms of economic and social development. But before I get onto that, I think it's important to note that this side of the House's case was largely based on two fundamental misconceptions. First of all, that China wants mutually beneficial investment. And we showed you right from the beginning of our case, through my labor analysis, we showed that China doesn't want to employ people within Africa when they go there. In terms of analysis that was brought up later about China investing in countries where there's human rights deprivation, such as they're giving aid to these countries, such as Mugabe, such as Sudan, and also the fact that their education analysis about China training and educating all these African people is simply empirically false. And all of this evidence shows that China is completely self-interested when they invest in Africa. The West, on the other hand, considers the interests of Africa because they're concerned about the stability of their investment in the future. And we told you this through the analysis about the fact that they invest in African labor and the fact that they're investing in manufacturing skills as well, and that we have the skills transfer. But this whole idea of aid being given to countries, given to people like Mugabe and to Sudan, is also a good analysis to rebut the matter that was related to Botswana's second misconception in today's debate, which was that we were actually talking about aid and about loans. And that what we'd say is that even when we're providing aid, the fact is that the West actually is better at doing this because they don't give aid to countries where there are things like genocide. So we won that point even though it fell outside the debate. So let's get into this important area of economic development. And first of all, we show that in terms of primary investment, the investment is better because the West is employing people, but also that even if China had equally good investment, we're having twice as much because they invest in manufacturing as well. Now, they simply told us false statistics about how lots of investment goes back to the West, how the West has worse infrastructure, and so they never dealt with our analysis, and they never proved anything. In terms of social development, they just brushed aside our examples, saying that government should be responsible. But we gave analysis as to why this simply doesn't happen, and we gave examples as well. We told you how South Africa votes against human rights in the United Nations. They don't take on that responsibility because they have to be reliant on China, because if they pull out, there's no labor here, that industry is going to collapse, unlike when the West invests. We do want conditions on countries where we're not investing in dictatorships. We don't want conditions that make countries act against human rights in places like the UN, especially in Africa, where we think human rights are a very important issue, and where we want investment that's going to be encouraging countries to actually promote human rights within their nations. And so, because they based their case on two misconceptions, and we won both in terms of economic and social development, we simply must win.